Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be a bit off the rails, but I'm pissed and I intend to make that everyone's problem today. So I had this well thought out script where I was going to revisit this concept of cult of personality from an academic perspective in the wake of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. And then after receiving no warning and without even posting any additional videos since my last ban, my backup TikTok account was permanently murked for the second time due to mass reporting by the butthurt and desperate Deppcells and Deppford wives who really don't appreciate that they wasted $3,000 to contribute to the current shift of public opinion in Amber Heard's favor. It's because I lost so much good content on that page, and because I'm sick of these absolute psychopaths chasing Amber supporters off of social media for fear of their lives. Instead, we're going to go on the offensive and spotlight the perpetrators of this most recent targeted attack against me on TikTok. And we're going to talk about why it might be that certain kinds of women might be prone to the kinds of insane brainwashing these Deppford wives have been. Back in 2007, when I was 24 years old, I was extremely selfish and self-centered. And generally speaking, I took whatever man I wanted, even ones who were in relationships. Now that I have perspective and have matured, I realized that this was me going through my pick-me phase. And I knowingly helped ruin a lot of relationships. I would have thrown literally any other woman under the bus for a chance to mess around with hot guys. Any other woman. It was like a game to me. It didn't matter. But there's a huge difference between how I was at 18 to 24 and how these Deppford wives are. Like, the youngest one I've interacted with can't be any younger than me, and I'm 40. Okay, that's well beyond the age of you should know better. Because this is YouTube, and you can't just force me off the platform by reporting my video until it gets taken down, I can say explicitly to just create more conspiracies and dig in instead of addressing the embarrassment of your cognitive dissonance. Ladies, it is time to grow the absolute fuck up. You know that you aren't making any material difference to domestic abuse victims defending Johnny Depp. No credible domestic abuse or IPV experts or major organizations at all, anywhere, support Depp. Okay? CUNY publicly withdrew their support. All they did was mention that somebody on Johnny Depp's legal team went to their school, and they publicly withdrew even mentioning it when they got backlash from those of us who support Amber. So that's what I'm here to say. You can't get to us all. And more specifically, You losers can't get to me as much as you'd like to think that you already have. Something that we talked about recently in the Depp Delusion subreddit, which is increasingly becoming more and more of an appropriate name as the conspiracy theories pile up. But one of the things that we were talking about was whether or not we should address how batshit crazy you are, or if we should just continue to spread the truth as much as we can and pretend like you don't exist. Here's the thing. You chose to tussle with me specifically. I am what they call hyperlexic. So, here we have the definition of hyperlexia. It's when a child begins reading and understanding written language early and well beyond their expected ability. What that means for people like you is that I don't even have to bring up any details of the conspiracies you've come up with to be able to verbally eviscerate you. And you're still going to need a dictionary to help you figure out what the heck is even going on. But don't worry, because every time I use a word that I'm not sure your teeny little brains will be able to understand, I'll go ahead and stick a definition right up here on the screen. That way you can't claim that I didn't at least try to help you understand just how badly you're being made fun of. So, there you go. I am more than capable of addressing your psychosis without giving any weight or credence to the details of your conspiracies at all. So let's go back to what I was saying about my pick-me phase. Because I guess, regardless of age, pick-me's truly do believe that they can just stand in the wreckage of the rest of us, and that somehow helping our oppressors and our abusers do their job of oppressing us and abusing us even quicker and faster means they won't be just rested enough to squash you once they're done squashing us. And that's sad. Women and trans people are facing unprecedented attacks on our rights, not just in the US, but globally. White supremacy and fascism is digging in. Backlash to the vision of progress over the last few decades. And you think that you're making some sort of progressive statement by ignoring the statistics, ignoring the experts, and by defending a man who has been proven to be violent, proven to be a bigot, and proven to be a danger to all marginalized communities. Now I'm going to reiterate something I'm sure you buffoons have heard a million times before, but I'm gonna say it again. No one, literally none, of Amber's supporters is arguing that men can't be victims of domestic abuse too. This isn't about men too, for you idiots. It's about proving women too, despite the cold hard fact that statistically speaking, a man is more likely to be the victim of abuse, grooming, or sexual assault by a man than he is to be falsely accused of the same by a woman. On top of ignoring that predatory women in Hollywood already exist. And instead of advocating, instead of advocating for their victims, you chose to invent a victim that the unsealed documents and the UK trial prove never existed. And you are here to face why that is, whether you like it or not. You didn't have the truth on your side. You never have. So you engaged in literal terrorism to chase Amber's biggest and most popular supporter off Twitter. Literal terrorism. Okay? Camilla spoke of her own history with stalking and IPV as a show of solidarity to Amber and other survivors. And you manipulated her trauma against her to silence her. Each and every one of you who says, well, I'm a survivor and I believe Depp is complicit in the terrorism of others who have been through exactly what you allege you've been through. So let's talk about what stochastic terrorism is. The definition is the public demonization of a person or group resulting in the incitement of a violent act which is statistically probable, but whose specifics cannot be predicted. Let me reiterate. You are alleged survivors of violence and abuse. And instead of being confident in your truth that you're supporting the right person, you've inflicted further trauma on fellow survivors and continue to incite violence against those people. I would tell you that you should be ashamed of yourselves for acting this way and standing behind this kind of behavior, but shame is connected to our sense of empathy and compassion, and none of you, I'm convinced, have the capacity for either one of those. You make excuses for the kinds of language and fantasies that directly contribute to the global issue of femicide, particularly that of queer women and women of color. It took over 30 credible accusations to bring down Bill Cosby, and people didn't start really listening until a white woman began to accuse him. It took Angelina Jolie and Rose McGowan both sacrificing their careers and their mental health to finally allow other women to feel safe enough to come forward about Harvey Weinstein. Amber Heard knew if she stayed quiet, the next victim of Depp's would not make it out alive. If you have to twist what Depp's exes have had to say to indicate they support him, but then you turn around and refuse to take Ellen Barkin's testimony as the truth, I hate to break it to you, but there are more than just a few gaps in your logic. Jennifer Grey, when asked about her relationship with Depp, said he never hit her. However, in her recently released memoir, she referred to him as crazy, paranoid, controlling, and jealous. The exact same things that Ellen Barkin said about him throughout her deposition. And when it comes to the way you absolute scum talk about his relationship with Winona Ryder, I cannot believe the number of you morons that claim her checking into a rehab facility after they broke up was just her being an overdramatic teen. But then you'll turn around and you'll also be the same people who criticize Drake for taking advantage of Millie Bobby Brown when she was being groomed and was already a victim of abuse by her parents and already had trauma. Okay, everything Winona touched back then was golden. I don't remember anyone ever having anything bad to say about her until she broke up with Johnny Depp. I swear to God, the ugliness has got to be affecting your memories because you crucified her then for the same things you're saying about Amber now. She's off-putting, she's cold, she's the one who hurt him. She walks away from interactions with fans. She doesn't seem to care anymore. What a bitch. Of course she doesn't want to re-traumatize herself after that. And you assholes are using that refusal to re-traumatize herself at the hands of a madman and his mob of sycophantic psychos as a reason she supports him. It's infuriating. You harass and intimidate anyone who has anything that could even remotely be twisted to be against Depp in any capacity. Congrats. You're the reason why she hired Matthew Rosengart. That shouldn't make you feel good. There's a reason why Rosengart is the lawyer that was able to free Britney from her conservatorship. And there's a reason why Winona hired him to protect her. And of course, you goons don't even care. You don't even care about the people who you claim Johnny cared about the most. As much as I hate to say it, I really find it hard to believe that somebody who truly knows and understands what it's like to be a survivor of this kind of abuse would have such issues recognizing IPV or empathizing with women who fight back. I think a point that Amber's supporters have been making all along is that you need to be careful lest your logic be used against you. I'm not obligated to believe you without evidence either. But back to the part about fighting back. This was the bit of the whole thing that eventually led to this interaction between myself and my former best friend. I don't care who you are or where you're coming from, what your perspective is. To expect an abuse victim to be better behaved than their abuser is the height of both arrogance and ignorance. You asshats will gobble up merch proclaiming Eileen Wuornos self-defense heroine. And then in the same sentence, repeat Waldman's proven lies about a tape he later admitted he edited and twisted out of context about Amber. Are you fucking kidding me with that? Like, are you kidding me with that? If anyone deserves the title self-defense heroine, it's Amber Heard, not the psychopath who admitted that 6 of the 7 men she murdered were innocent. And then when I heard that the reason Amber admitted she punched Johnny was because her sister intervened when he was hitting Amber, and then he laid hands on Whitney too, that's when it really clicked into place in my mind. That there was no way I would ever be able to blame Amber for her reactivity. That's what started the argument between me and my friend. The second you lay hands on anyone else outside the relationship, it's over. Like, how can you blame her for reacting to that? Like, how is that even remotely tolerable to you absolute troglodytes? I also cannot emphasize enough, if you are claiming that you believe Depp because something about Amber triggers you, you need to stop role-playing from Mean Girls for 5 fucking seconds Text your therapist immediately and ask them why they think that is. When you were being abused, did you freeze? Did you fawn? Did you refuse to leave? Did it take you years to get out? Was the way you reacted to the abuse something that put your children at risk? Something that put other family members at risk because you didn't leave or fight back? I've tried having sympathy for you for 5 years. I have put up with harassment and bullying and still tried to understand how the pain and trauma that you say you've been through could manifest in the kind of gleeful abuse I've watched you inflict on fellow survivors. And I can't. I can't keep taking the high road on this one. None of you deserve it. None of you deserve to be believed any more than you think Amber does. Bad things happen. Okay, shit happens. Abusive people, as we can see, are capable of getting away with some pretty heinous things. The way you reacted is not your fault, any more than the way Amber reacted is her fault. But that's really what it boils down to. Desperation to change facts and statistics about IPV, because concocting crazy fucking conspiracy theories and throwing another woman under the bus is easier than admitting that you're not really mad at Amber, you're mad at yourselves because you didn't fight back. And because you didn't leave until it was almost too late. I don't really, need to say anything beyond that because that's exactly what this is. So, we're going to move on and address the leftist Americans who still side with Depp, or who haven't publicly apologized for perpetuating the myth of mutual abuse, because I know that this is probably not going to resonate with any of the people who've been harassing me. But for the leftist Americans who might come across this, let me remind you, Johnny Depp hired Adam Waldman for a reason. He has direct ties to Putin and Russia. Okay? A pro-Depp YouTuber recently sued for slandering somebody who works for Amber's PR company, is a conservative married to a current Trump associate. I don't think I need to remind anybody that our former president is currently being investigated by the Department of Justice for selling U.S. nuclear secrets to China, Russia, and the Saudis. During the summer of George Floyd, we saw how effective violence can be at upsetting a systemic imbalance of power. These people are the people who are working very diligently to brainwash people against the idea of violence as a natural consequence of oppression, as opposed to a matter of simply, oh, well, I'm just going to be the bigger person. And a whole lot of people who should know better fell for it. How the frick is it that you absolute clowns could sit there and say riots are is the language of the unheard or whatever, and then sit there and say somebody who is having such terrible fucking things said to and about them should have just taken it or should have been the bigger person? Like, the fact that you can't see that proves that we have so very much more work to do on the left in this country. Like, I literally, after seeing how this played out at the end of this trial, I have zero hope. Zero. You are just as susceptible to brainwashing as the other side is. You are no better than them. None of you get to claim moral superiority. Fascism is breathing down our throats. It's coming. And y'all have proven that you will just roll over and fucking let it. And that's embarrassing. You should be the most embarrassed about ever supporting Johnny Depp. I know that the people who are harassing me, who are attempting to silence me, don't give two shits. This video is not going to do anything to shame them, but y'all, leftists who support Johnny Depp, 100%. If you don't feel embarrassed, then I don't consider you a comrade, and I'm never going to. Period. So here we are. This video, again, like I said, probably did nothing to embarrass the people that are harassing me, or, make them rethink their position. But that actually wasn't really the point. Every interaction I've ever had with one of you ugly cunts has been sour and abusive and riddled with half-truths, out-of-context lies, and conspiracies, and you still truly seem to believe that you are morally superior. You come to our posts to make space unsafe for us. You platform racism, anti-Semitism, queerphobia, and misogynistic violence, and I am the one who continues to get punished. I guess the point wasn't to try to embarrass you. The point was to say, congrats. You got a backup account on TikTok taken down. Congrats. You all own social media. Really, all you own is TikTok. You don't even have control over Twitter anymore. But the point being, you can't touch me. And exposing you for the absolute assholes that you are isn't bullying and harassment. It's holding you accountable for the damage you're doing. Because as I've laid out, it's not just doing damage to Amber, and it's not just doing damage to Amber supporters. Your logic will be used against you. You will end up on the garbage heap with the rest of us. The only difference between you and the rest of us is when the ultimate reason why these people fought so hard to manipulate the justice system in Johnny Depp's favor, when their ultimate goal is exposed, when Amber wins her appeal, and when you need us because you finally realized that you and your rights are under attack, but it's not just us. We are not going to be there to pick up the pieces. You are on your own. So I really, really, really hope that being a pick-me worked out for you. Because you're not going to be able to come crying back to us when the men turn around and treat you exactly the way they've treated us. So I'm looking forward to the comments section of this video. I'm looking forward to seeing what kinds of reports happen. We'll see. We'll see. It took I mean, to my knowledge, Tug is still monetized. Um, Over 700 videos obsessed about Amber, genuinely inciting violence and harassment against Amber. And YouTube still monetized his channel. I'm not monetized. I have 16 subscribers. Bring it on.